What is going on YouTube? Today what we're doing is taking a look at the brand new future units that just came out. We didn't get Gogeta, but we did get something that some people were asking for, so let's take a look if they're even worth it. Stay tuned, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so now let's get into today's video. Just to let you know though, we will be starting a brand new month-long giveaway starting next Monday, so be sure to smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss anything. But that being said guys, we got a brand new Ultra Space Time banner. So essentially we're getting some guarantees off of this the daily tickets as usual. As far as the actual units go though, I spent a good portion of the day while I was on break at work, during lunch, stuff like that, reading through the reactions for all of these units, specifically Gohan. We're going to look at these units and then I'll give you guys my thoughts. Exactly, it's probably going to surprise you just because I like to look at math, right? I like to look at, ignore the skill, ignore everything, and just look at math and facts and what is on paper, right? Can it be applied in real life? So let's start with our Gohan here. Now off the bat, these units are not impressive stat-wise. I just want to throw that out there right off the bat. Let's forget about BROLY type stats. You know, everything has been very dropped down and normalized in that sense. So now looking at what he brings, he has 2 strike cards. Great, you'll see why that's great later. He has the hybrid tag, the Super Saiyan tag, future tag, and Sun Family tag. Fine. Again, you know that I'm not a big fan of having multiple tags like this because of all the anti-tags out there. So for example, Goku Black is going to have a field day with that hybrid tag. But that being said, you know, there aren't too many. The androids don't really exist anymore, so it's not like Perfect Cell can be abusing the Super Saiyan tag. But we'll see how that all unfolds in the future. As far as the actual abilities, just looking at the Kamehameha, standard stuff basically increases strike damage by 20%. His green card restores own health by 10%, 20% to strike damage inflicted. So, I mean, you've already got some stacking buffs here, 20%, 20%, cancels attribute downgrades. That's just kind of standard now across new units, just to remove debuffs and stuff like that. And his explosive kick doesn't actually add anything, it just kind of removes the enemy attribute upgrades on hit, which is actually really good because a lot of buffs are going around, right? Thinking about Super Saiyan Bardock, thinking about Red Broly, stuff like that. So having this to remove that, I mean, you remove it once, whatever, but it's still something to keep in mind, right? Now, as far as his abilities, you get that off your main ability, obviously. Now, I want to talk about these Z abilities because at 3 stars, you already get 26% to your strike attack during battle. So now we're approaching movie type buffs, right? So remember what I did with the movie team, we're over 2,000 the ability percentage. Now we're starting to get into something that might compete later on, right? This is gonna be a recurring theme, the whole later on. So the future team will be good in the future, go figure, right? The 5-star basically ups this to 31%. Not something to be ignored, right? As far as his unique abilities, 40% to strike damage when you have a tag future as a battle member, and for the kind of once this character dies buff, which you know that I hate. Your aim should never be to die in a battle, right? This is why I find these kinds of unique abilities really stupid. But 30% to strike damage inflicted, 35% key recovery, and 15% to damage inflicted by tag future. So essentially, this unit has, if you're looking at it globally here, he's got buffs that he gets for using cards and stuff like that, and overall he has a 40% strike damage buff. Great. Now, what I would like to do is kind of call back to Goku Black, right? Same deal, pops a green card, gets a bonus to his damage, has his main ability which increases his damage by 50% or a reduced amount but also heals him, and has the anti-hybrid and anti-Saiyan tag, which is basically, the Saiyan tag is what you're fighting these days, let's be real. So overall, I feel as though, you know, in terms of yellow units, I would go for Goku Black before the Gohan. This whole dying and buffing your team, yeah, it's good, but again, my goal is never to want to die, right? That being said, with Rising Rush being as stupid as it is, this may be a solid replacement, just because, I mean, you could kind of sacrifice him, buff the rest of your team, and now everybody gets this big boost, right? So 15% to the rest of the future, plus a 30% strike damage inflicted. That's almost 45%. That's basically Goku Black's main ability for your remaining 2 units after Spongy Up or Rising Rush. So definitely something to consider here. Let's take a look at what the other units do, because it does start to stack up quite a bit, specifically with MAI, but we're going to look at Trunks first here. So again, stats, nothing to really shake a stick at, although that 76 and 80 is starting to get a bit better. I mean, we're nowhere near 90,000 and those kinds of stats, but it is getting better. So now let's take a look here. So he has a blast unit. He brings 2 blast cards. Something else to keep in mind, right, if you're thinking of using Goku Black, having these blast cards are going to be pretty important, because these are now 2 blast units that would be on your rotation. Just something to keep in mind. Again, Hybrid Saiyan, Vegeta family, Super Saiyan 2, and Future. The Super Saiyan 2 tag is kind of useless at this point. Future, obviously, what we're looking for, and Hybrid Saiyan being the other option. Vegeta family, these types of tags are kind of useless right now. Moving over to his abilities here. So he does have the bleed on his attack, so that's basically going to happen at some point during your combo. It's 50% chance. It's gonna happen, right? Gallic Gun reduces ki recovery. Yeah, okay, whatever. Those aren't the buffs I'm looking for. I'm looking for things that will kind of shape the meta, right? 20% to ki recovery, not a big deal at this point. 20% to blast damage inflicted, that's standard, just your 20% green card, 14 cost, that's completely fine. I am trying to go a bit quickly through the fluff, just because we have 3 units to review, and I do want to talk about the meta after this. So let's kind of plow through this. Now, the main ability, 20% to allies is inflicted damage for 20 timer counts. Now, this also nullifies allies attribute downgrades, yada yada yada, we don't care about that. But the fact that you can buff your allies by 20%, I like this, because the whole meta right now is defined by Red Broly and Blue Bardock buffing, you know, and causing these kind of ridiculous numbers to pop up, right? So having something like this that can kind of scale over time, I like this, and you'll see with MAI what the case is there. But again, here's the abilities, 26%, moving up to 31%, and he also gets tag Hybrid Saiyan, by the way, when he gets to 5 stars. So kind of giving that blue unit over to the hybrids. I don't think it's enough to save them, honestly, but still something to keep in mind nonetheless, right? Now, as far as Guardian's Resolve goes here in the unique abilities, 40% to blast damage inflicted for 10 timer counts when he enters the battlefield. So you switch to him, he has 40% blast damage, that's it. Now, he restores his own health by 10% when he's switched out, right? So you take some damage, you switch out, you get 10% of that back. Restores own ki by 20 when his character vanishes. So essentially, if you were low on ki for that last card, if you were to vanish at the start and then do your combo, for example, you would gain a free 20 ki. I like that they're trying new things. I don't think this is dramatic. I think it's very, very good, but I don't think it's game breaking in that sense, if you guys can see what I mean here. Now, what I like is this down here. So he has the whole kind of closing unit thing going on, right? So 15% to own ki recovery for each down battle member, whatever. 15% to blast damage inflicted for each down tag, though. So total of 30% obtainable here. Plus he's got his 40% just for entering the field here. Plus he's got the high Z abilities. Plus he can buff here. I mean, we're getting a lot of synergy out of this unit, right? So while these stats, again, they're getting okay, but I mean, this is not something worth wailing on, you know, to get over 90 or something like that. It's still kind of leaves to be desired, but it's a good solid base for this future tag. Now let's take a look at good bases here. So we have MAI, who is basically going to be our new Super Saiyan Bardock, our new Red Broly. This is assuming that you don't have Purple Broly, of course, right? So again, stats, not too nice. Looking at that strike damage, I mean, the strike buff here is basically what we had back at 1500, right? Not a big deal. She does still have the future tag and the female warrior tag, so this may be useful later on. But if you look at what she does here, more bleeds, so we're gonna have lots of bleeds out of this team. We have the +5 to strike and blast costs, and of course the flashbang, which will destroy 2 of the enemy's cards and downgrade their draw speed as well. Now, the the fun part comes over here. So main ability, restores ally health by 20%, plus 15% to allies' inflicted damage. So here we have, again, another buff to allies' damage. So that's 2 now that we have out of these main abilities, and she actually heals everybody. Again, the ability, this is actually really good because she gains already at 3 stars, it's 18% to your max health. So just keep that in mind when we were talking about all those low stats. Well, you're getting a lot of buffs coming up here, right? And they're high buffs. So that's what's really important, right? Now it goes up to 23% and can affect tag female warrior. Now, moving to unique abilities, we have our key restore by 30 and increase arts card draw speed by 1 when his character enters the battlefield. I really like this because you can switch her in mid combo, regain an extra 30 key, and continue your combo, whereas before you possibly could not have. So I'm talking about, for example, getting that extra blast card in where usually you would be out of key, right? So very important stuff here in terms of key. I like that this specifically is in the game. The whole vanish thing, yes, but I mean, is it that game breaking? Not really. This though may be the difference when you get that extra card in, right? Now tactical retreat. This is what makes her basically the Super Saiyan Bardock, the Red Broly for her team. So she restores own ki by 30 and plus 20% to allies' damage when she's switched to standby. So she comes in, increases ki by 30. She goes out, increases ki by 30, and increases their damage. Now, if Trunks is a battle member, there's an additional 10% to the allies' inflicted damage. So that's 30% inflicted damage for switching out of her. So very similar to what Bardock and Red Broly are doing, and she provides that for her team, which as of right now, all of these units on the team, Goku Black, Gohan, the Trunks, they all have some kind of massive damage boost already, right? So whether it's the blast damage, the strike damage, the anti-Saiyan or anti-hybrid tag, you know, the main abilities, the increased damage here, increased damage there. So lots of damage and some good utility coming in. I really like this with the whole playing around with the key, extending combos that way. I like the direction that the future tag is taking, but the underlying question is, does it beat Broly, right? Yeah, obviously, I think everyone agrees that it does not. Now, what would we need to beat Broly? Well, the issue is that right now Broly, first of all, just team-wise, he has a complete team. All right, so if we're starting off with, again, what I believe to be the best team in the game, my movie team that I have set up, go back and watch that video if you have not yet. It is for whales. You need to have 5 stars on all your units so that you can get the movie buffs unlocked. But, I mean, Broly just has infinitely better synergy there, especially that his stats are so high. Getting that 2000% Z ability buff is just ridiculous multipliers on already very high stats. So on that, future team can keep up. What else? Now, is he getting buffs? Well, yes, he gets buffs from the Red Broly and a damage cut as well. So on top of having very high stats, very high HP, he's getting a damage cut and a damage boost. So now, while these units, yes, they bring a lot of extras here and there, overall, if we're talking about things that matter in a match, I believe personally that what the movie team brings is better, because we saw that, for example, with the hybrid team, just raw damage all the time. That's not what will make a team good, right? We saw them kind of just fade into nothingness very quickly. The only reason why buffing Broly is such an effective, overpowered, broken way of just playing the game right now, very pay to win, is because he does not care about not having vanish. That alone removes any kind of utility necessary, right? So you use him, you vanish, then if for any reason you have to be sitting there in the neutral screen without your vanish, well, he doesn't care, because if they use a blast card, he just uses a strike card, goes through it, gets his vanish, right? So even if you, for example, lock him in with green Bardock, he does not care, and he'll two-shot your green Bardock, right? So that's what makes this unit so ridiculously overpowered. High stats, good buffs available to him, and that whole self-utility, right? And that's not something that we're getting from the future tag as of yet. Now obviously we have so many units coming from the future here. We're gonna have the Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. Don't forget that that pops up in the future. We're gonna have Zamasu, we're gonna have Rose, we're gonna have Fused Zamasu, we're gonna have quite a bit of very, very strong future units. I mean, who knows, maybe we'll get some kind of future Xeno at some point, but there's a lot of possibilities for this tag still. So should you be rolling on this banner? Personally, I would say yes. You know, obviously I was not too keen on the last banner with the whole green Vegeta and stuff like that. I did say to get the God units for that tag at some point because there is a lot of potential there with Godku and Beerus. But this specific banner, I would say it is worth collecting these units, at least one of each. That's what I did. I got them one time each, basically 2 stars. And I'm going to sit on them because you know that they're going to be recycled at some point, right? They're going to come back in other banners, probably when we get some kind of other future banner, right? We'll probably have another appearance from these people. Personally, what I did, spending wise, I bought the guaranteed Trunks drop from the Chrono Crystal special. So that was 1 down, and I actually got lucky. I did 3 multis because I had some saved up. I used the ones that I bought, and that gave me the 2 others. So 2 other units and 3 multis, and that was it. I'm not spending any more. I'm not rolling anymore. I'm just going to sit on them. I'll probably level them up and play them, do some kind of showcase at some point. But for now, it's just, it doesn't warrant switching out Broly, is what it comes down to. So definitely hit subscribe for everything that's coming up. We've got another giveaway starting away soon. Hit that like button and comment below what you think of these units. I've been reading so many mixed responses on social media, which, by the way, if you look at the bottom of your screen there, we do now have a Twitter. So definitely go and follow that. And without further ado, guys, I will see you in the next video. See ya.